Welcome to Keeping It G with G, the podcast. I'm your host, Gian, but you can call me G. Hence, Keeping It G with G, the podcast. To keep it G means to maintain a level of respect for oneself and those around you. And that is why this show was created, to have an open, honest, vulnerable, and accountable discussion about the ups and downs of everyday life shit as it pertains to self-improvement, love, relationships, and motherhood. So in hopes of me sharing through personal experiences from the lessons I've learned and still learning, I pray that I can shed light and share some gems that will give you that extra push that you may need as we are all growing and learning through life. I'm here to reassure my listeners that it's okay to keep it G while on your journey. Now let's start the show. Happy Sunday and welcome to episode 69 of Keeping It G with G, the podcast. So for today's Sunday episode, I want to get right into this week's topic, which is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence includes emotional management, personal motivation, empathy, self-awareness, and social skills. And in being emotionally intelligent as it pertains to relationships is to be aware of oneself and your capabilities and having the knowledge of self to have the capability and knowledge to love another person. This is a topic that I feel like is extremely overlooked and not discussed enough, or haven't put the emphasis on being when it comes to dating, pursuing, and being inside of a relationship or a friendship. And I want to send out a disclaimer, that this episode is not me saying that people are responsible for your emotions, because they aren't. You are solely responsible for that. And healthily projecting them as well. People are not psychic, so communication plays a big part in being emotionally intelligent, and you have to have the audacity to be vocal and vulnerable about your feelings and be honest about it. People are just not emotionally intelligent for me, and that just doesn't sit well for me. It's very heartbreaking. And so this is what lack of being emotionally intelligent looks like. Being easily triggered and letting your emotions be the guiding force in how you react. Not being able to clearly vocalize or communicate your feelings and emotions clearly. Negatively putting the blame on others for not being able to healthily communicate their feelings. Lying about how you truly feel, sugarcoating your emotions because you don't want to come off or look weak. Not being compassionate or having empathy towards your feelings. And this is a big thing when people aren't able to be compassionate or show empathy towards you when you're having a rough time, because most times when people have lack of compassion towards your feelings, it's because they've spent a lot of time putting their own feelings and emotions on the back burner in their own life, which has in turn allowed them to not be able to sit with their own emotions or things that they've been through. And so they begin to blame other people or backpedal or put shit under the rug, and that can be a big issue when it comes to dating. So please keep that in mind and make sure that you're paying close attention to how people deal with their own emotions, because it's going to play a big part in how they deal with you and yours when you are needing that support or wanting that support. And lastly, letting past hurts stop you from moving into what could be a good situation for you in terms of love and growth. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people will compare that past situation or let things that they've been through in the past be a constant reminder as to why they can't move into this situation, because the last one didn't work out how they planned it would. And so it holds them back. And that is very, very, very unhealthy, because that means that that person hasn't sat with those feelings and emotions and that hurt that it may have caused them. And so they're going to constantly be put in a situation where those triggers will come up, and then they won't have a choice but to sit with it, because you got to grow. You can't allow past things and past hurts to hold you back from something that could be good for you just because a past situation didn't pan out how you planned it to. So please remember that. You got to let go. You got to forgive and, move on. And all those things are a sign of lack of emotional intelligence. Excuse me, I'm getting tongue twisted. And today we're going to get to the bottom of it, because no more. And it could be because I pride myself on being in tune with my emotions and being able to communicate that clearly, vulnerably, and honestly when the opportunity presents itself. Because I feel like if I'm unable to sit with my own shit by myself, then how am I going to be able to communicate that to other people? And how am I going to in turn be able to be there for others when, they need me to, if I'm emotionally all over the place? And so I try my best to sit with shit, whether it's writing, praying, going to therapy, whatever it is, so that I can, move healthily in terms of my emotional intelligence, especially in having a kid as well, because that's very important. But being emotionally intelligent, y'all, bear with me, because it's a lot of emotional intelligence going on in this episode. But being emotionally intelligent is important because it allows you to feel and acknowledge your own feelings so that you're able to communicate that clearly and feel it. And it also allows you to be compassionate, like I said, towards others and their feelings as well. So being present for yourself emotionally first is very important so that you can healthily be present for others as well. This is not an easy task. It takes being vulnerable over and over and over again and sitting with your shit and being honest with yourself first so that you can in turn be honest with others. Do not shelf your feelings. Do not sweep them under the rug. Do not put them on the back burner, because the shit will continuously come up. You'll be triggered. You'll be held back, and you will move in fear because you're scared that people will see you as weak because you want to be vocal about your emotions. And that's just not logical. We're human. Everybody has feelings. Everybody goes through shit. And so you have to be able to sit with your emotions and bring them to the forefront so that you can healthily move how you need to in terms of for yourself and others. So it's also very important for someone to be able to be there for you and be compassionate and supportive through it. When I say this, I don't mean count on people to just know automatically or be a psychic about when you're going through something. You have to be vocal about it, articulate clearly, and help them to understand and help you. But that's my take on emotional intelligence as it pertains to your life, your relationships, your friendships. And I also found an article on emotional intelligence that I will briefly read off of for those who need a little bit more insight on it. And then, of course, I'll attach it to the show notes for those who are interested in reading further. So it says emotional intelligence is commonly defined by 4 attributes. 1, self-management. You're able to control impulsive feelings and behaviors Manage your emotions in healthy ways, take initiative, follow through on commitments, and adapt to changing circumstances. Number 2, self-awareness. You recognize your own emotions and how they affect your thoughts and behaviors. You know your strengths and weaknesses and have self-confidence. Number 3, social awareness. You have empathy. You can understand the emotions, needs, and concerns of other people. Pick up on emotional cues, feel comfortable socially, and recognize the power dynamics in a group or organization. And then number 4, which is what we just discussed, relationship management. You know how to develop and maintain good relationships, communicate clearly, inspire and influence others, work well in a team, and manage conflict. And then it just goes on to say why emotional intelligence is important. It's a really good read for those who are interested. Like I said, the article will be listed in the show notes. I definitely recommend clicking it and looking more into it because it's very, very resourceful. And in closing, please work on being emotionally intelligent with yourself and others, because this is a very important task for you to be able to have successful, healthy, and long-lasting relationships. I was very excited about this topic because a lot of people have no idea what it means to be emotionally intelligent, and it's very disheartening for me. Especially amongst my peers, and, just being very observant and listening to, different scenarios. So please work on that for your girl if you haven't been already, because it's very imperative. So yeah, that is the show. I won't hold you any longer. I hope you guys have a great and relaxing and refreshing happy Sunday, and I will talk to you guys for the next episode of Keeping It G with G, the podcast.